In early June 2014, Lars Mittank, an easygoing 28-year-old from northern Germany, packed his bags for a quick summer trip. He wasn't running from anything. No secrets, no drama. Just a laid-back guy headed to the Bulgarian coast with a group of friends. They booked a stay in the resort town of Golden Sands, famous for its beaches, clubs, and cheap drinks. By all accounts, everything started off perfectly. Days on the beach, nights out in the bars. No one, not even Lars, could have imagined how fast everything would spiral. Just a week later, Lars was alone, frightened, and desperately trying to get home. On the morning of July 8th, security cameras at Varna airport captured something unforgettable. Lars, without his luggage, sprinting down the terminal hallway in a panic, glancing over his shoulder as if being chased. He crashes through a door, bolts across the airport parking lot, climbs a fence, and vanishes into the trees beyond. It's the last confirmed sighting of Lars Mittank. No one has seen or heard from him since.
Lars Joachim Mittank was, by all means, a regular guy. He grew up in Itzehoe, a small German town, and worked as a technician at a power plant. Friends described him as cheerful, grounded, and always up for a good laugh. He loved football, especially his favorite team, Werder Bremen. There was no history of psychological problems, no criminal record, nothing unusual. Just a quiet life, a solid job, and plans for the future. When he decided to take a trip with his buddies to Bulgaria, it was simply a break from routine. No one expected it would be the last time they'd see him. Golden Sands is Bulgaria's answer to Ibiza, a coastal paradise filled with sun, parties, and thousands of tourists every summer. Lars and his friends arrived in late June, staying in a cheap hotel close to the beach. Days passed in a blur of sunshine, drinks, and football on the big screen. For the first few days, Lars was in great spirits, laughing, drinking, relaxing. But something shifted. One night, after an argument with a group of other tourists, possibly over football loyalties, Lars got into a fight. That's when everything began to change.
The confrontation happened near a local bar. Lars and his friends had been watching a match, and a heated exchange broke out, reportedly with fans of another football team. What exactly was said or done remains unclear. What we do know is this: Lars got punched. It didn't seem serious at first, but later he complained of pain in his left ear. A doctor later diagnosed him with a ruptured eardrum and warned him not to fly. His friends had to return home, but Lars chose to stay behind alone in Bulgaria to recover.
Lars checked into a cheap motel in a sketchier part of Varna, not far from the airport. He was supposed to rest and wait for clearance to fly home. But almost immediately, his behavior began to change. He texted his mother saying he didn't feel safe. He believed he was being followed by men who'd been hired to hurt him. He told her to cancel his credit card and said he was hiding. Something was clearly wrong, but was it fear or something deeper?
In the following days, Lars's texts and phone calls to his mother became increasingly disturbing. He claimed that men were trying to poison him. He said he didn't trust the people at his hotel and believed he was being watched. At one point, he even sent a message saying, "I don't know if I'll make it. I'm scared." He refused to eat the food, moved rooms several times, and barely slept. This wasn't the same Lars who had laughed with friends just a few days earlier. Something had shifted. Something deep and terrifying.
On the morning of July 8th, Lars went to Varna airport. His flight back to Germany was booked. Before boarding, he visited the airport medical center for one last checkup. The doctor, noting his ear injury, prescribed him antibiotics. Nothing unusual. But then, Lars stood up. He mumbled something, eyes wide, and suddenly ran out of the room, leaving his luggage behind. He sprinted out of the airport entirely, vanishing through the back entrance and into the nearby woods. It was the last time anyone saw him.
The airport's security cameras recorded every second. At exactly 10:55 a.m., Lars bursts through the door of the airport clinic. He's not just walking fast, he's running. He pushes past startled staff, darts down a corridor, and sprints through the main terminal. In the footage, He keeps looking over his shoulder as if someone is right behind him, but no one is. He's alone. Seconds later, he crashes through the exit doors, drops his bag, and keeps running.
Outside, Lars runs across the parking lot and heads toward the fence that separates the airport from a small patch of woods. He climbs it in seconds, disappears into the trees, and then nothing. No more footage, no witnesses, no trail. Authorities searched the forest, the airport, nearby buildings, but there was no trace of him. His backpack, wallet, passport, and phone were all left behind. It's as if he just vanished. The footage would later go viral. Millions watched it, looking for answers in every frame. But all it offered was more questions.
In the hours following his disappearance, local authorities began a search of the nearby woods. Dogs, helicopters, and volunteers combed the area. But there was no trace. No clothing, no blood, no signs of struggle. It was as if Lars had been swallowed by the forest. His mother, Lars Mittank, flew to Bulgaria almost immediately. She posted missing person flyers in multiple languages, spoke to news outlets, and begged for help. But days turned into weeks, and weeks into months.
Interpol issued a yellow notice. TV crews, journalists, and even private investigators got involved. Rumors swirled, sightings, theories, false leads. Some said he was seen wandering through rural villages. Others believed he had died in the woods, but none of it ever checked out. No official trace of Lars Mittank has been found since July 8, 2014. The case remains one of the most haunting disappearances in modern European history.
Some experts believe Lars experienced a sudden onset of mental illness, possibly paranoid schizophrenia or drug-induced psychosis. The extreme stress, the physical injury, the isolation in a foreign country, it could have triggered something inside him. Paranoia, delusions, hallucinations. It would explain why he thought people were after him. It might even explain the sudden sprint through the airport, the frantic escape. But if that's the case, where did he go? How did he survive with no ID, no money, no support?
Others aren't convinced it was just mental illness. What if someone really was following him? Was he involved in something his friends didn't know about? Could the fight at the bar have been more than just football banter? Some believe he may have stumbled into something dangerous, drug trafficking, organ trade, or human smuggling. A few even think he was abducted or killed, and that authorities missed key evidence. But again, no proof, just theories, and one terrifying video of a man running for his life.
Even after years of investigation, the questions remain. What happened to Lars Mittank? Was it a mental breakdown? A moment of panic? Or did something more sinister happen that no one has uncovered yet? Why did Lars run through the airport, terrified, without any clear explanation? What made him believe that he was in danger? And most importantly, why hasn't anyone found him? Could he still be out there somewhere, living in fear? Or did his life take a much darker turn?
As of today, Lars Mittank is still missing. His case remains open, but there's been little progress. His family, however, has never given up. They continue to seek answers, even as hope fades. Every year, more people ask the same questions, some trying to unravel the mystery, others simply hoping for closure. Lars's name remains in the headlines, but his story still leaves us with a chilling reminder. Sometimes, people just disappear, and sometimes, we never find out why.
Lars Mittank's disappearance has left a lasting impact on those who knew him, and on everyone who has followed his case. His name has become synonymous with one of the most puzzling disappearances in recent history. For his family, especially his mother, the unanswered questions are a daily weight. She still holds on to hope, even as years pass by without any solid answers. The chilling footage of his last moments continues to haunt anyone who watches it, with the image of Lars running, terrified and alone, burned into their minds. It's a reminder that not every mystery has a neat conclusion, and that some people are simply never found.
Lars's case has inspired documentaries, news reports, and online forums dedicated to theories and speculations. For many, his story is a symbol of the unknown, of how a normal life can be turned upside down in an instant. While there are no easy answers, the mystery of Lars Mittank has led people to reflect on their own lives, the fragility of existence, and how quickly things can change. For Lars's family, the hope for closure continues, as the search for the truth remains unresolved. The story of Lars Mittank is far from over, and it may never be.
Lars Mittank's disappearance remains one of those cases that refuses to be forgotten. It's a haunting reminder that sometimes, no matter how much we search, we don't find the answers we're looking for. The mystery of what happened that fateful day in Bulgaria continues to puzzle experts, investigators, and viewers alike. Is it the result of mental illness, a tragic accident, or something far darker that we'll never understand? The truth, it seems, is as elusive as Lars himself.
For those who loved Lars, the journey to closure is still ongoing. Every year, his family marks his disappearance with hope, but also with sorrow. The unanswered questions and the empty spaces in the narrative make it hard to find peace. Yet the search, however painful, continues. Lars's story isn't just a mystery. It's a symbol of the unknown in all of us. And as long as his case remains open, there's a flicker of hope that one day, someone might have the answers. Until then, Lars Mittank's name will remain in the hearts and minds of all who wonder what truly happened to him.